And we are back on the road to glory. Happy New Year. It's 2026, but we're still here. A lot of football left to be played. Semi-finals are upon us. But before we get into all of that, we got to talk about all the action that took place New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, quarterfinal round of the playoffs. It was explosive. It was fun. Featured some upsets. And we're down to a Final Four that many people maybe didn't predict. I'm your host, Sean. I'm joined today by Steph, a man that reps one of these Final Four teams. So, congrats to that. We'll talk all about the Ducks' big win in a little bit. But before we get into that, Steph, happy holidays, happy New Year, my guy. How you feeling? What's the vibes?
Man, Happy New Year. The Buckeyes lose. The
The
Trojans
Bulldog.
lose.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The Bulldogs lose. Come on, man. This is what it's about, man. Happy New Year. Ducks is in the semis. We didn't predict a lot of stuff that happened, but I've never been more happy to be wrong, man. So, just really enjoying it. I did go to the Orange Bowl to see my Ducks get BTA in person to the overhyped Texas Tech. And I'm just ready to see us play Indiana, man.
Yeah, the good old get back game, rematch of that epic battle that took place during the regular season. Should be a good one. We'll talk all about that game in a little bit, but first, let's rewind a little bit. Um, let's talk about some of these teams that took L's over this past week, had their seasons ended. Obviously, the transfer portal is popping off, it's jumping, but there's just so much movement, there's so much going on that it's really hard for us to kind of keep up with and talk about that here. So, if you want us to listen to the talk about the transfer portal, probably not on this episode. Maybe once the football is done being played on the field and it's the off season, we could talk a little bit about where some faces and players ended up with new teams, but we'll keep it pretty much strictly football for the rest of
Yeah,
the playoffs here.
I mean, it's different now too because there's only one window and the window is shorter, so everybody is kind of jumping in there and committing very really fast. So everything is just happening 100 miles an hour, and it really is hard to keep up with. So we definitely got to do a real deep dive on everything that's been going on.
For sure, for sure. We'll definitely go in and we'll pick out some of the top names that jumped into the portal, and we'll talk about all of that good stuff when we have the chance. But yeah, man, I mean, I think there's like 4,000 players, close to 4,000 players entered into the portal, um, which is an insane amount. I think it's like 25% of the amount of total college football players. So a lot going on in the transfer portal. It giveth and it taketh away. But yeah, man, let's lock in. We'll be having Haas join us shortly. Um, we'll have a little group therapy session for him as he's still working through that Georgia loss. But before we get to that game, it all started off New Year's Eve, Wednesday night, Miami and Ohio State playing in the Cotton Bowl Classic. And man, a result that, like you mentioned at the beginning of the show, not many of us expected. Um, I'm pretty sure we both picked Ohio State. I know I did for sure. You picked Ohio State, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we both picked Ohio State to cover. Um, and yeah, no, Miami pretty much from the jump felt like they were in pretty much control of that game. They dominated this game up front, physically, on all three levels, in all three phases. Miami was just the better football team. You could tell they had a game plan. They know their identity. They know how they want to win, and they played to it. And in that game against Texas A&M, it was keep the ball out of Carson Beck's hand and let Mark Fletcher really carry the load. Pause. As well as a few of the other playmakers on the outside. Um, and this week, it was pretty much the same. Carson Beck threw the ball a couple more times. He had 26 attempts, but I think that's That's enough. I mean, I don't think you really want Carson Beck throwing the ball 30, 40 times. It's probably not a game you win, but I think if Miami can keep him around that 20 to 25 pass attempts and he could be efficient, not turn the ball over, and they can continue to run the ball. Mark Fletcher, 19 carries for 90 yards, 4.7 a touch. And then they got production from other guys. I mean, Malachi Tony didn't really have his big game, but CJ Daniels had 5 catches. Marion had 5 catches. Um, so, yeah, I think Miami's offense was really the biggest question mark, I think, for everybody coming into this game, especially against this Ohio State defense that was looking like one of the best defenses over the past 5 to 10 years, let alone this year. This was a very complex, high level defense. Matt Patricia coming from the NFL. There's a lot of hype behind this defense, and Miami handled it well. What were your initial thoughts about the game?
Yeah, pretty much everything you said, man. Miami's offensive line and defensive line have been really dominant throughout these playoffs. And, if you're going to have one part of your team as your strength, it has to be the front. Um, I think Ohio State, they haven't really been tested as much as we thought they were this year. Week one, playing against Texas and them getting that win, I think everybody was ready to pencil them in as being more in the mix, at least making it to semis or even making it to the national championship game again. But then we saw how Texas was, and then at the end of the year, Ohio State plays against Indiana in the Big Ten championship, and then they lose that. So, I mean, Ohio State really lost to every really good team that they played this year. Um, I mean, we know Texas has a lot of talent, but I don't think they really lived up to it at all. And we know Miami's issues. They dropped 2 dumb games, but in these playoffs, they've been a buzzsaw, man. I mean, their offense did enough, and it helps when you get a defensive touchdown. I mean, to me, that's really the play of the game, and that's the play that won them the game.
For sure.
Like
What a play.
when you
What a
get
play.
a defensive touchdown in a game like this where everything is neck and neck, I mean, that just helps your chances way more.
And on top of that, not to interrupt, but where
No,
that
you're good.
where that play took place too, that took away points from Ohio State. They were
Right.
at minimum
Exactly.
3. A maximum they could have got 7, and then that turned into 7 for Miami. So that was a huge, like you said, that was the play of the game for sure. Like you said. Jeremiah Smith, he still got his game off though. 7 catches, 157 yards, and a touchdown. What a player that guy is! It's insane that he has to like play another year of college football.
Yeah.
Like I'm obviously, um, football is not like other sports. You do need to develop, physically before, like, you can't just have 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds going to play in the NFL. Um, just not usually how it works. But he is a rare case where he really could have been last year as a freshman. He could have been playing in the NFL and took a whole season worth of hits and games played and been fine. He's a different kind of guy. He's a different kind of guy.
Yeah. Every now and then you see a player like that coming up, and yeah, they're just different than everybody else. I mean, he was. I think he could have played the NFL last year, but he has to play another year of college football. Man, it's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. And his season's over though. Ohio State as a total they fold. I think the run game let them down a bit as well. Bo Jackson did average 5 yards a carry, only carried it 11 times. I think maybe they should have gave him the ball a couple more times. Even C.J. Donaldson, 7 carries for 31 yards, 4.4 yards a carry. Um, Both had broken, yards over 10 yards, broken, rushes over 10 yards. So I feel like they could have gashed Miami a little bit more on defense, but I don't know. Julian Sane threw the ball 35 times, 2 interceptions, and like you said, the one big pick six that truly, truly did it for Ohio State. Um, I don't know. Not
Yeah. How
just
do
not
you
adding what?
how do you feel about Ryan Day, man? Because we're seeing without Chip Kelly. they just haven't been as good on offense. I mean, I think Sayan is a fine quarterback, but he's definitely not a game breaker type of quarterback. And we'll talk about Trinidad Chambers in a bit, but to me, that's a game breaker. Where that's a guy that you really have to devote a lot of resources to stopping. And saying I mean, this is first year starting. He can get a lot better going forward, but I'm saying for this season, I think I agree with you. Like they should have tried to lean more on the run game, take less off saying shoulders, and maybe instead of having him throw it 35 times, throw it 25 times, 20 times,
Yeah,
because I mean it is a lot for a player like that to have to be responsible for, and
some of his life also too.
right. And Miami's front has just been amazing. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think Ohio State just wasn't really as good as we thought they were going to be. I mean, they don't really have
I'm saying that.
a really good running back like they did last year. I mean, they had Travion Henderson and Quinshon Junkins, like probably the best duo in the country. They just don't have that anymore. I think Bo Jackson's a good back, but again, true freshman, he
I
can
guess.
get a lot better. But it definitely was a step back from last year, and I think it was probably also a step back in play calling and game management from last year as well. I mean, just with all of the turnover and Brian Hartline stepping in and then immediately getting a head coaching job. Like I don't know, like I think it's better when Ryan Day is not calling the plays. Not that he's a bad play caller, but we talked about this before. In this era of college football, it's really hard to be a head coach slash play caller. And I know he's only doing it for the playoffs, but it's still tough because you're just responsible for so much. Like you're supposed to be in defensive meetings and working with that side of the ball, but still trying to call
Yep.
plays on game day on offense. I mean, it's just a lot with everything that you have to do nowadays with the recruiting and in the portal and everything. I mean, that's why and I've said it before and I'll say it again. The last coach that won a championship while being the play caller was Jimbo Fisher in the last BCS championship. So that was in the BCS era, the last BCS championship game, 2013 season. So I guess it would have been January 2014. That was the last time. And that was a completely different era. So no one in the 14 or 12 team playoff era has done it.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I think it's a little bit the opposite in the NFL right now. It's like trending in less of a CEO kind of, but all the
Right.
NFL head coaches are all these top coordinators. Mike McDaniel's, Mike McDonald, Zach Taylor,
Ben Johnson.
Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson. Yeah, all these guys, Schottenheimer, like all the coordinators, all the play callers, all the schemers are the NFL coaches. But you're right. In college, it's different.
Yeah,
As
it's
a
a
Florida
different
Gator
game,
fan,
man.
firsthand, I watched Billy Napier, a pretty good CEO. I mean, good recruiter, great at building relationships, uh, built like really good organizationally, but a terrible play caller. And he just always was in the offensive meetings, all in the QB meetings, and never on the defense side. Like it was just too much. It doesn't work. Steve Sarkisian with Texas, people are like, "Oh, why is Texas so bad? They have all this talent. Why are they so?" Until he gives up play calling, Texas is going to still be trash.
Hmm.
But um, we do have Haas joining us at this point in the show. Haas, what's good, my brother? Uh,
What's good, my boy?
you're my guy. And any thoughts on the Miami Ohio State game?
Uh, I feel like I liked Miami going into the game. I can't remember who I chose last time we recorded, but I definitely feel like I felt like Miami's defense had an edge. Like most people who watch college, I mean, I wasn't really sold on saying, like Steph was saying this whole entire year. There wasn't really anything he did that showed me like he could overcome defense with NFL talent like Miami. So I'm not really surprised they did what they did. I am a little concerned with Miami's offense, though. I know Malachi Tony is a dog, but they do feel pretty one-dimensional. Like if they're not playing from ahead, I'm still concerned if Carson Beck could throw them back into a game. Like he made some big plays with his arm, but not for 3 quarters. Like I'm expecting a game like that with Oregon or even when they play Ole Miss, he's gonna be have to throw the ball at least 30 times. So in my opinion, I think he's gonna have to throw the ball a lot. Ole Miss, they have a lot of possessions because they run a really fast offense. So Miami's gonna have a chance to score a lot of points, and I'm not sure if Carson Beck can do that, but I like them versus Ohio State. And if I'm being honest, I think O State is kind of in the gutter. I know they just won a national championship, but
Ooh,
it definitely has an asterisk next to it. Like if you look at
Mickey
who they,
Mouse.
yeah, so they have a Mickey Mouse ring, and then Ryan Day's still calling plays, and it's just not working out. Like I feel like Hartline maybe needs to just take over or something. Something's just not clicking to where they
So
can't
that
get
was
it
the
done.
thing. Harline, because he's now the USF head coach, and he's been at USF recruiting, doing whatever he's doing as the head coach. Ryan Day actually went in the press conference and said that he was going to take over play calling for this game because he felt like he was more connected to the pulse. He was still in the building more than Hartline. We saw who was it? I think another coach also did that too. Was it Oregon? Did Will Stein call? What's up with did they let Will Stein still call plays?
Yeah,
Or
Will Stein and Tosh Lupoy are still calling plays.
okay, so Oregon took a different approach. So did Ole Miss. They brought back Charlie Wise. They're still letting him call the plays. So I think you're right, Haas. I think that was a miscalculation. I know Brian Hartline was on the sideline, but yeah, Ryan Day, his play calling,
O
you could
State was just out where they were just bullied.
they're
Like
getting bullied. They weren't physical. They were
like
not.
it's there was no excuse to get bullied. They were playing indoors. They let a tropical team bully them. It's just crazy. Like
Letting a
it
tropical
says a
team bully
lot.
you is crazy.
Calling them a tropical team is nuts. I like that.
I mean, think about it.
That feels pretty.
That's just the culture of the team. You look at a team like the Dolphins. Even when they dominate other teams, it's all finesse. They never really out physical anybody. Like just Florida football teams aren't really known for physicality like that in terms of identity on a.
True. And Cristobal is really instilling that at Miami. They got a nice little culture going there. I know they're about to get the number one offensive tackle and defensive tackle in the country in 2027 too. So we'll see. Let's move on though to another bullying worse. Um, Indiana and Alabama in the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all. It sucks, man, when the Rose Bowl is a blowout. This is a sacred game. This is a game that should be competitive every year, and yeah, not even close. Not even close. 38-3. I I made a hot take, Steph, at the beginning of the year. I don't know if you remember, but I said I think that whoever starts the year at quarterback for Alabama is not going to finish the year at quarterback for Alabama. And that prediction, and that prediction was dead ass cooked
Wow.
until the third quarter when Austin Mack came in and finished the game. Looked pretty good doing it too. Um, but yeah, what a snipe by me, by the way. That was nuts. I just had to bring that up. But
Yeah,
you
that was a
know,
nice backdoor cover by Bama.
Yeah, Bama is just terrible, man. Um,
That
Georgia
backup looked
weeks ago.
terrible.
Yeah, we knew this makes Oklahoma look terrible too because Alabama kind of smoked Oklahoma. Um, yeah, they just couldn't get anything going on offense. Indiana is just a machine. I mean, what else is there really to say? Indiana looked like it in reverse. Like 10 years ago, it looked like Indiana was had the Alabama aura, and Alabama was just some random bozos.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it's different at Indiana. These
This
guys,
is this is kind of an outcome that I expected.
For
yeah,
sure.
we
I
both did
mean,
pick Indiana.
yeah, when you look at Alabama and how their season went, I mean the team was regressing as the season was going on, and they lost to Florida State, who sucks. They were in dogfights with bad teams. They are literally incapable of running the football. I mean, wasn't Ty Simpson their leading rusher with 17 yards rushing?
Yep.
I don't know, man. It's crazy. You know what? I think I'm ready to come out and say it. Kalen DeBoer, you owe your career to Michael Penix, Rome Odunze, Jalen Pope,
You know that Drewski
and
meme
that
where he's like, "We
Washington
need this
team.
broke to get rich." We changed his,
Huh?
we changed his life. You know that Drewski meme where he's like,
Oh yeah, yeah. Of
"Yeah,
course. They changed his life, man. They changed his life. Cause that Washington team was not very good at running the football. I'm pretty sure
No.
they were ranked in the 70s, but they were just barely good enough. They were opportunistic with it. They were efficient with it, but they, in my opinion, had the best thrower of the football on that team. And with Michael Penix in 2023, I think he was the best quarterback in the country when it came to throwing the football that year. So they were able to basically just do whatever they want in the passing game, and the run game was more of a supplement to that. But compare that to this Alabama team, their receivers are not as good. Jeremy Bernard's a pretty good player, but he's not Rome Dunze.
He's
Um,
nice. I like Jeremy Bernard though. I think he's gonna
Now
be a
he's
great
nice, but
pro.
he's not as good of a receiver as Rome Dunze. And then you got Ryan Williams, who's basically been a no-show the whole season. Um, it's just not.
He's
It's not even
terrible.
close. And then, uh, what's the quarterback? Ty Simpson. Not even close. Not even close. So when you have a team that's not as good and you just can't run the ball at all, I mean, this is the type of stuff that happens because the defense doesn't even have to worry about it. They could have 7 people in the box, probably even 6 people in the box, not even, not even worry about that run game, and just focus all the energy to the passing game, which isn't even that hard to stop. Because yeah, Ty Simpson's a good quarterback, but like I said, your receivers ain't all that. And when it's a good team like Indiana, who's so well coached and all their players are in the right spot all the time, this is what happens. You have one flawed, a super flawed team going against a team with basically no flaws. That's the
yep,
difference.
it's crazy." Um, do you guys think this is pretty much the end of the Alabama era? Because I don't see like
I don't think so. I think
no,
if anything they can. Sorry to cut you off, but I
no,
think if
no.
anything they can DeVore before they let him destroy their entire legacy. I
You're right.
mean, our entire lives we've known Bama to be able to run the ball. Literally, you can go back until DeBoer got there and look at every starting running back since we've grown up watching football and just look at the starters. Like their
Yeah,
identity
but
is running the ball, and
but
the
what
fact
but
that
what
they
running back is as good as those? They've had legendary running back after legendary running back.
that's what I'm
What
saying. They've
what running back
abandoned
on their
that.
team is like that? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They've abandoned that. They don't have that anymore since DeBoer got there. I mean, he's brought, just like you said, the same identity from Washington over to Alabama, and it's just not successful. Like I think they thought that they were bringing on a new tradition and stuff, and I knew shit was gonna go south when he like completely like overhauled Nick Saban's office and shit. Like he
I'm
he
glad
he
you
had
brought that up.
he had no respect. Like
Yeah, I'm
you
glad you
could
brought
like
that up.
you could
That's
like
good.
move stuff around and like, but he just completely like restored the like demoed the entire office and turned it into a fucking like little gaming room. It was just a joke. It's bad.
Yeah, like first of all, if you want to
Nick
remodel
Saban,
it,
come on, man. You don't just do
bro,
that to his office.
if you want to remodel it, you can remodel it, but the style he chose, it like
It's like
it's funny.
Airbnb, like corny ass,
Yeah,
like
like it
super
was like
staged
yeah,
ass.
it's like this basic ass like generic model home style. It's funny. It's like you might think that something like that has nothing to do with football, but to me, things like that they tell a lot about a person's personality. And I think that teams take on the personality of their head coach when they play. And Kalen DeBoer just don't have that dog in him, man. You watch him in interviews, he don't have that fight, the passion, and the things like that. And that's why the team not physical. You look at other teams like Mario Cristobal, you see how he acts on game day, how he acts in interviews. He's all about the O line, and look how his team plays. You look at um, Kirby Smart. You see what fire he has, and you see how his team plays. You look at Dan Lanning, Kurt Signetti. I mean, Kurt Signetti, he's
Hey,
not
even
he's not afraid of anybody, and that's how his team plays.
yeah,
So you look at Kalen DeBoer, it's like I don't feel it. Like when I see him talk, he's not a person that makes me want to run on that field and put a helmet on and go hit somebody. That's just my opinion. I don't know what y'all feel about it, but
as
I think
little
it really goes along with how his office looks.
for sure, as little as James Franklin won, that's what kept him at Penn State for so long. Just that energy he coached with. That's
Right.
how he was such a
Shit,
great
Mike Tomlin.
recruiter. For real. I mean, you just got players willing to believe. They don't even know what they're fighting for. Just got them bought in for whatever, ready to crash out. Those are the great coaches.
Those are the good coaches, no cap.
Dan Campbell, he's a terrible play caller. He learned that this year. They had a down year. They missed the playoffs. I know we're talking NFL, but he's just such a great coach that they're just going to follow his lead no matter what. He got humbled, but he's far
Yeah,
from losing his job.
shit, I'll say it. Indiana's next opponent, their head coach, he's one of them guys too.
Yeah.
One on what guys?
He'll get you
Oh,
ready to crash out. What you mean?
yeah,
Oh yeah,
fired
yeah.
up coach. But I
Fired up
did.
coach,
We'll
not
get
head
to
coach.
Oregon. I do got a clown of the week, and he is in that gold and green. So we wait for my clown of the week. I seen some real clown shittery.
All right, let's move on from this game from these two teams. Alabama, their season is over. Indiana, they're a wagon, 14-0. Let's move on to I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you should we save the therapy session for last, or should we save Oregon's win for last?
I think we should get through the games, like the games in order, how good they were. Cause I mean, Oregon really put Gucci belt
Yeah,
to the
let's talk about this
fucking.
Oregon game real quick before we talk about the main event. Oregon, like you said, Gucci belt, 23-0. Pitched a shutout on the Texas Tech. I think at one point in the chat, I put, I think Texas Tech is the worst college football playoff team ever. That's how bad Oregon made them look. I mean,
Worse than TCU.
Michigan State that one year.
no, there's some pretty bad teams for sure. I'm
Yeah,
not.
Michigan State got blown up by Alabama that one
They're
year.
amongst them. I think Notre Dame didn't Notre Dame lose 55-0 or something
Something like that, yeah.
like that. I don't know. Anyways, Steph, this is your team. You were there in the building. The Ducks 23-0 over Texas Tech. Walk us through this. Talk us through this. How you feeling?
It was really nice to see. Just the whole experience of the game was just really nice. I mean, going there, getting in and out. I mean, they've done a really good job with just the logistics of everything surrounding the stadium. I think a lot of it has to do with F1, honestly, because the F1 track is still set up over there
For sure.
at Hard Rock, and so they have all that stuff, all the gates and infrastructure still there. So it was real easy getting in and out. Um, but yeah, the game was real fun to see. It was mostly Texas Tech fans in there. Um, I saw a lot of videos online about Oregon fans beefing with Texas Tech fans and things like that. But that really wasn't my experience. I mean, the tech I was sitting. There was some Oregon people by me, but I was mostly around Texas Tech fans, and they were all really nice. No one was saying anything crazy or mean or anything. So I wasn't
Ain't
even
nothing to
really.
say.
I
They got
mean,
a
yeah, but
donut with
yeah, that's true. But
sprinkles.
but but remember, for most of the game, I mean, we were up like 3-0, 6-0 for the first half. So they were still
It was
able to
ugly.
kind of talk trash and things like that, but no one was really doing that. So I didn't even really like get in my shit talking mode. Like I kind of felt bad, but I was kind of like, oh well,
He was nervous.
I
He
don't.
was nervous. Be honest.
No, it wasn't even that. It was just like I can't talk shit to people that ain't really doing it either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be that one guy that's just like harassing people in the crowd or anything like that. Like it's one thing if somebody's talking shit and then I'm talking shit back to them, but I'm not just going like say something nasty about a team when they fans aren't even being like that. So I gotta say that it was a little like I saw some viral videos online, but my experience was really nice. Like I think the Texas Tech fans, at least the ones around me, they were really nice. Not they were just kind of cheering for the team, normal football stuff. So that was
what was the
fun, man.
stadium split? What would you say?
Huh?
What was the stadium split?
Man, it was like 70-30 Texas Tech, man. It was a lot of Texas Tech fans. They was excited because you got to remember this is like the biggest stage that they've ever been on.
Right.
You know, they've never really won the Big 12. I think even that one year they beat Texas, I don't think they won the Big 12. Maybe they did. I'm talking about back in 2008, the Michael Crabtree catch. Um, but
That's a
they've
throwback.
never, they've never made it to the college football playoff before this year. They've never won the Big 12 in at least a decade. I mean, this is just their biggest moment, and unfortunately for them, their offense was completely anemic. And it was funny because leading up to the game, the story was just about Texas Tech's defense, right? That's all we hear about them, their front seven, and things like that. But I think people forgot that our defense is actually good too. And I know we gave up 34 to JMU, but like, you really think that we were calling the game the same way in the second half as the first? We were up like 35-7 or something like that at halftime. And we start putting in people rotating and things like that. Like, hey, they gave us some points, but were we ever in danger of losing that game? No. So, I'm not really ready to. I wasn't ready to completely change my whole opinion on a team based off that. And then I think we showed up and really made a statement because their quarterback really couldn't even complete a pass. He couldn't see the field well at all. Bear Morton just not very good, honestly, quite frankly. Um, I mean, and it showed. Like Brandon Finney had a career day, 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery. Um, we forced 4 turnovers. Mateo Uyunglele just rips the ball out of Morton's hands and almost runs it in for a touchdown. Like they just couldn't do anything. I mean, their team, they're like Texas Tech is a good football team. That was the best front seven that we played all season. So I think that's going to be a really good test for Indiana. I mean, we know we could block a team like that good enough, and and if we play against if we win that and play against Miami in the Natty, like I think we're prepared for this kind of team. But you look at Texas Tech skills, there's nobody that scares you on their offense. I mean, running back, wide receiver, they're okay, but we didn't have any problem covering them. I mean, that's really what it is. And then you look at our skills on offense. I think our wide receivers were able to get open pretty decently. It's just that Dante didn't have enough time to really throw the ball. And he threw for more yards than I thought. He had over 200 yards passing. And it didn't feel like that watching the game, honestly. It felt
240,
like he would yeah, it
27.
felt like yeah, it felt like he would finish with 140 yards passing. Because it really didn't feel like we were moving the ball at all, honestly. And a lot of that was because our drives would stall out. We had some miscues, like we had like 2 or 3 botch snaps but when you looked at the yards and just time of possession and things like that, like we were controlling that game from beginning to end. So I think sometimes you got to win ugly. Every game is not going to be pretty. You're not going to score 40 on everybody, and I think if you actually watch the game and see what was happening, that Oregon was in control the entire time, and Texas Tech really had no chance.
Yeah. I mean, from start to finish, Oregon was in control, like you said. It wasn't pretty, but a win is a win. And Oregon, they move on. Rematch against Indiana. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, let's close out our quarterfinal recap with a nice little group therapy session for our boy Haas. How's your dogs? They fall again as my hate watch is successful and Ole Miss knocks them off 39-34 in a freaking instant classic. It always feels like you guys are involved in these crazy ass games. This time though, Ole Miss comes out on top. Let's walk us through how you feeling about this game, the overall performance of the team, and just where Georgia is at currently.
First, I definitely got to give respect to the nasty ass Rebels and their powder blue. That would have been the best thing they could have done is rock those. Maybe they'll save them for the Natty if they make it. But what I can say, unbiased, is if there's gonna be any team any non-biased fan wants to win, I think it's Ole Miss. Just as a fu to Lane Kiffin. I mean, that would probably be one of the greatest
Definitely.
stories in college football history. I mean,
Hmm.
especially around the birth of the whole NIL era. I mean, that would be legendary if Ole Miss was able to win a national championship with Lane. And I think we all know he was not winning one at LSU. So I think that'd be crazy. They're 2 games away from doing it, but I just had to say that because as an unbiased fan, I can say I want Ole Miss to win the national championship just because Lane Kiffin was our clown of the week a few episodes ago, and that would be the ultimate stamp if they can show him he's a fucking clown.
Yeah,
But
I mean, with every game that Ole Miss wins in this playoff, Lane Kiffin just looks more dumb and more dumb. I
Yeah.
mean, just and then the drama with him trying to force the coaches to go to LSU and things like that. It's like, yo, like you already look dumb. Just let them finish the season. You just didn't expect them to win. You thought that they was gonna beat Tulane and then lose the next one, and then you thought, okay, now my coach can come to LSU, but they won against Georgia. So now they gotta coach Ole Miss for another week. So you just gotta eat that, and you're gonna have you should you know what? Be a man and do that portal work yourself. How about that? You get paid too much money to be, you know, trying to do all this BS with the coaches drama, and then tell them they don't have a job if they don't show up. And come on, man,
I
this this is
think
this is this is setting up for LSU to go 7-5.
it sure is, and it's setting up for Lane Kiffin to end up at Nebraska just because he's so fucking corny. Fucking cornball go coach the Corn Huskers. I mean, I think after LSU, he's not gonna get another. I mean, he'll probably. I don't know. I can't speak that far. He hasn't even started at LSU to say whether he'd get another chance once he fails. But I don't know. I just think that it was super lame to leave those kids like that. But back to the game. I mean, that was a first of all epic game. I think that was probably one of my favorite games I ever watched. As frustrating as it was, but it was one of my favorite games I ever watched. Just because you see so many more unorthodox plays in college and big moments as opposed to the NFL. I mean, whether it's a fake punt or it's a
That
fucking
big one was
tight
crazy.
end reverse pass, it's just always something crazy that in a critical moment that you don't expect in college, and that's kind of what makes the sport the sport. But I think Kirby shot himself in the foot, and this is the second year in a row he's lost in New Orleans. I don't know what kind of voodoo is going on over there, but it's working. And if he's to make the Sugar Bowl again next year, I would have zero confidence in Georgia's money line just because he can't win in New Orleans at this point. I mean,
It's crazy, actually.
he shot
Definitely.
himself in the foot gambling way too hard, and I don't even know where to begin for real. I think that Ole Miss played damn near a perfect game, and Georgia still had plenty of opportunities to win the game, but Ole Miss just really outcoached them. Like, if we're being honest, Kirby got outcoached by, I don't want to say interim because he was promoted, but Kirby got outcoached by an interim head coach and the biggest stage. I mean, there's no
Yeah,
other way to put it.
and
It's tragic, and he got exposed. And if Georgia's football program can't look themselves in the mirror and figure out where they need to invest heavier, quarterback position, offensive coordinator, like they have to change some philosophies around there if they want to get back to the discussions of a dynasty because he has NFL players on his roster. He's going to every year, but he's not retaining them like he was with NIL now because every player is damn near 1 year rental. Like
Every single.
even at these great programs with these great coaches, like Signetti's getting the older guys as like 1 year rentals, you know. So there's no really building any more tradition and building dynasties that are gonna go three-peat like that. That's not happening anymore. So Georgia's really gonna have to look themselves in the mirror this offseason and figure out how to get with the times once again because they got with the times and the times changed after a couple years. So it's gonna take some critical thinking. And they're losing a lot. Well, not a lot, but they're losing their best skill player since Brock Bowers, and it's really unfortunate that Zachariah Branch couldn't do more at a big on a bigger stage because I think that he's super talented and wherever team he goes to in the NFL, he's gonna be a monster.
Yeah, I think there's a few things, and you brought up some of them with a quarterback and how you can't retain talent as well. I mean, if we're looking at a lot of these games, and most of the time, the best quarterback wins. Honestly, in terms of
Yep.
Ohio State and Miami, I think they're probably about equal, saying and Beck, but Chambliss is better than Stockton. Mendoza is better than Simpson. Dante Moore is better than Baron Morton. Like the winning teams have the better quarterback. And Georgia's got some problems, but let's be honest, they're right there. They're right there. I mean, they won the conference. They lost in a crazy shootout with Ole Miss, and they lost to a game breaker quarterback. Like I said a little bit earlier on this episode, like Trinidad Chambliss, he is what you want in a college quarterback. He can throw it. I mean, he's a magician when it comes to moving around in the pocket. The way he spins out of sacks and reverses field, runs back. I mean, that one play where he ran back all the way about 20 yards backwards and then ran to the side and then just shoveled the ball forward to the running back for the first down. I mean, that's just the type of
Video game
play
shit.
that yeah, that's the type of play that is the equalizer. When your team maybe isn't as good across the board as the other team, if you have a quarterback like that, you got a chance. And I think that's really what it was when it come to Ole Miss. I mean, that team, they have attitude. They're angry about the whole situation. They're trying to show everybody that they belong every game. And I think they understand that all these guys being together like this is not that's not how it's going to be next year. Um, so I think that Ole Miss just really played their A game, man. And I think Georgia, again, they got some issues. I mean,
Yeah.
Stockton's a pretty good quarterback, but I think Georgia can do better at
Stockton has to
quarterback.
play the quarterback position. Sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off. He has to play the
Nah, you good.
quarterback position though. It's just so like he's on a winning team. He's won games. He's won. He's was thrown in a fire versus Notre Dame in his debut. Like I respect Gunnar Stockton. He's tough as fuck. Like as well. Like I mean, he takes more hits than anybody in college football. Like he's taking some crazy hits. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the clip. You've seen the clip, but there's a play of him lining up under the left guard, thinking he's the center. I mean, you would think it was a direct snap to Nate Frazier, because the guy is concussed, lining up behind the left guard, waiting for the snap. So I mean, he's super tough. I respect him, but he has to play the quarterback position and be a better passer. Like it's really unfortunate how bad of a passer Georgia's quarterbacks typically are. I mean, Stenson Bennett numbers were pretty good, but he wasn't a prolific passer. Like if you watch him play, your eyes can tell you he's no prolific passer. And there's absolutely no reason why like Georgia football, the state fucking university, should not be able to get elite quarterbacks a year in year out. I mean, I don't know what the typical quarterback looks like in the AD's eyes, but something's got to change because it's like there's no if you look at all the quarterbacks Georgia could have had, it's a joke. Like
I mean,
there's
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
hidden message.
Tough,
There's something going on. There's some
y'all got
national
stuffed by
treasure.
Vandy.
yeah.
Y'all got stuffed by Vandy for a quarterback.
Got a 5 star.
Mendoza was supposed to go to Georgia this offseason
Yeah, he
before
was. He was.
Yeah.
he was supposed to
Yep.
go to Georgia. So I don't know what is going on. I don't know what the locker looks like at Georgia for quarterbacks, but there's something wrong where they cannot get quarterbacks, and they got to figure it out because, like you said, in today's era, you have to have a quarterback.
Y'all can't get wide receiver either. I mean, y'all got Branch out the portal, but he's
I
been pretty much the only receiver that's done anything for y'all all season.
I can say last year was pretty bad, but and because of injuries, but they have been better at getting a lot of transfer wide receivers. I mean, they just unfortunately have been injured. And Zachariah is a hit, but Kobe Young did play versus Ole Miss. He didn't really do much, but he was injured throughout most of the year. They had a lot of transfers. They had a transfer from Vandy. They get guys. It's just about utilizing them. The offense is so still, and this has to be Mike Bobo's last year. I mean, I don't know if it's because his son was on the starting lineup and then he got hurt, but now that he's hurt, hopefully they can go rehab somewhere else. But they just got to get out of Athens. I mean, it's an absolute disgrace and mockery to watch that offense and how they use players like Zachariah Branch in such simplistic schemes. I mean, it's really pathetic. It's really pathetic.
Yeah. A lot of talk about quarterbacks, but let's talk a little bit about Trinidad Chambliss because man, what a performance by this kid. He, it's insane to me that this kid is like a D2 quarterback and is just doing this, but it also makes sense. He's played on the big stage. I think he won the D2 national championship.
Yeah, he did.
He's played in high pressure moments. He's built for this stage, and now you just put him around other high caliber athletes, and you're getting a true gem. It's like you're playing NCAA 26, and you're scouting the guy, and then the gem pops up. Like that is exactly who he is. He is a true gem. I think he got some pretty standout play from his wide receivers too. Harrison Wallace, DeJon Stribling, they both went off. 9 catches, 156 yards, and a touchdown for Wallace. 7 catches, 122 yards for Stribling. I think that has been a weakness of Georgia that they've done a good job at masking throughout the season. For the most part, is that secondary, um, and I think Ole Miss did an extremely good job at attacking it, making them confused, putting them in disadvantaged situations, and really just making this dominant Georgia defense look like Swiss cheese. I mean, not many teams can put up 39 against Georgia, and Ole Miss had 35 last time they played. So it's it's not a fluke. This is they know something. They obviously have a scout on Georgia's defense. They had a good game plan, and yeah, I picked Ole Miss last week. I was banging the tables. It's hard to beat a team twice. It is hard to beat a team twice. Haas will tell you that first game, Georgia probably shouldn't have won that first game, to be honest.
Yeah, they played damn near a perfect game. They didn't punt the entire game. So
It's
how
insane.
how rare does that happen? I mean, they played almost a perfect game, man.
Yep. So Ole Miss advances to the Final Four, and that leaves us with Ole Miss versus Miami and Oregon versus Indiana. And I mean, although we got here like in an unlikely path, we all watched college football throughout the whole year. I think at a point you could have looked at all four of these teams from week 1 to week 14 and said, yeah, this is maybe the best team in the country. Miami and Ole Miss looked really. I think Ole Miss was in first place in the SEC all the way until that Georgia game, and that was the
Yep.
only loss they took in the SEC. So they looked like one of the top 5 teams all year long. Miami, a lot of people, Steph was saying it. I was saying it early in the season. Miami looked like they were the best team in the country for a long time.
Yeah,
Indiana was the best team in the country for a long time. And then Oregon, obviously, Oregon has been a little bit up and down this year, but more up than down. Let's be real. I mean, we're comparing them to to that last year team, but Oregon has also been a top 3 to 5 team all year long. So this four isn't really shocking. It is pretty much the 4 best teams minus Georgia, minus Ohio State, and obviously they both those teams had their chance and lost. So I like
yeah.
this Final Four. I think all 4 teams deserve to be here, and this is the true best 4 teams right now. Like,
Hey, and if Oregon or Indiana wins the national title, it'll be that team's first time win the national title. And if Ole Miss wins the national title, it'll be their first one since 1962. And if Miami wins, it'll be the first one since what, 2001 or 2002.
yeah,
So it's been
no,
a long time for all these teams. And Ole Miss, when's the last time they even won the SEC? When Miami, the last
they
time they
didn't win
won
it
a
this year.
conference was the Big East.
Yeah,
So I
3 of
mean,
these
this
4 teams didn't win their conference. Not to interrupt you, but
right,
just to,
right.
yeah,
No, like it just drives the point home. And this was the first year Indiana won the conference. So and they're still on that run. So I mean, regardless of what happens, I mean, this is not a thing that we've really seen before, especially if you're younger than us. Like, you don't remember Miami in their heyday. I mean, I don't even really remember like the first. I mean, like, because what is the first college football game y'all remember? Because I think for me, it's at least in terms of the season, it's probably that Rose Bowl with Texas and USC. I mean, like,
I was gonna say a Reggie Bush game probably.
First
yeah,
one that I
like
remember.
because I don't really remember anything before that.
I remember the '06 Natty
Oh my goodness.
for Gators. I was
And
9
that
years
was the
old.
last. And that was the last. I hope you enjoyed it because that was
Ah,
the
we won
last
in
time.
'08. We won in '08. We won
Yeah,
again
but
2 years
I'm
ago.
saying that time period. I hope
Oh
you
yeah,
enjoyed it because that was the last time you
it's
ever
been
gonna see
20
something like
long
that.
years, man. But hey, it's been longer for your Ducks. So let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
but
Let's.
I've never had it, so I don't know what it's like to lose it.
We got the Final Four. It's the semifinals. Starts off on Wednesday. I think. Hold on, let me find.
Thursday and Friday are the
Oh
games.
shit, y'all know the FCS Natty's playing right now. Montana State
Yeah,
is up on
and
Illinois
the
State, 28-14.
D3 Natty was yesterday, so I don't know when the D2 Natty is.
But all right, starts on Thursday, 7:30 p.m. ESPN. Miami, Ole Miss. They're playing in the Fiesta Bowl, Glendale, Arizona, State Farm Stadium. The line, as it sits today, is Miami -3.5. I open the floor. What are your guys' thoughts?
Uh,
I
I'm
feel,
here for the script. I think I'm here for the script. I mean,
yeah,
I'm
I'm with
biased.
you.
I can say there's a hidden test in college football, and for some reason, any quarterback that's ever able to dominate Georgia is usually a dog at the next level. It just I used to have a list on hand, but I forgot some of the names. But I know any quarterback that usually dominates Georgia is always prolific at the next level. And what I seen Chambliss do to Kirby's defense was nothing shy of greatness. And if he can do that to Kirby Smart's defense, I'm not uh, shy to say or think that he can't do that to Miami's defense. I mean, I know they don't. Georgia doesn't have a Ruben Bain, but Georgia's defense is just as good as Miami's, in my opinion, when it comes down to being in a clutch in big games. So I think Chambliss could have a big game, and I think that spread is pretty safe for Miami, -3.5. But I don't know about the money line. I think Ole Miss has a shot. I mean, their offense is tough, and Lacey's a dog. I think that a lot of people sleep on him, but he's a dog. Lacey's a dog, and their offense kind of runs through him. As long as he's going, they're going to be able to move the ball with no question. Chambliss is way too dynamic. Then if they're able to pick up yards on the ground and he's averaging around 4 yards per carry, like they might give Miami work. They start running at Bain, similar to how the league's been treating Miles Garrett these last couple weeks, so he doesn't get his sack record. If Ole Miss's offensive coordinator can cook up some crazy scheme and really attack Miami's defense and gas them out and do what they can to make sure they're worn down, Ole Miss really has a shot. And I think we also should be thinking about some of the coaches at Ole Miss because I know their head coach is probably going to say, but that offensive coordinator is getting head coaching looks in the NFL. So he's coaching for a real, like, he may get a big payday. So I think Ole Miss has a lot on the line. I think they want it a little more than Miami. I think Miami may get a little heat check. It was a great run. I think I'm excited to see Michael Irvin react to win or loss at this point. I mean, he's been part of he's he's been part of the whole Miami roller coaster this year.
Yeah,
But
no, I agree 100% with your take. I'm going with Ole Miss to cover as well. I think they're the more well-rounded team. I think Miami's defense has definitely taken a step up during their playoff run. Not only Bain and Mesidor, but their secondary as well. They've been playing excellent back there. So I do think that'll be an interesting matchup for Ole Miss. But like you mentioned, I think Chambliss, he's just so electric. He's so dynamic. He's a true game changer. Carson Beck, he is the opposite of that. And at some point, Miami is going to need him to win this national championship. Like, it's very hard to win a national championship without your
Yeah.
quarterback doing much. Like,
Yeah.
it can happen, maybe. I'm not
He
going to say
can't
it's
run.
impossible.
He's gonna have to move around. And Carson
Right. And I
Beck,
think
he's
I
a
think Ole
little,
Miss,
he's a little bit of a statue.
for sure, he definitely is. And I think Ole Miss's defense is very underrated. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize how good of a defense that really is. And I think, like you mentioned earlier in the show, how Miami's offense is not truly all that. I like Mark Fletcher. I like Malachi Tony. Their offensive line is always going to keep that floor high. But I also think that their ceiling isn't high. I think their ceiling's pretty low on that offense. I don't think they really have that ability to pop and explode for 30, 40 points. I think Ole Miss they spawn with 30 points. They wake up with 30 points. So I'm I've been counting Miami out this whole run, and they've been proving me wrong every single stop. So who knows? But I'm with you with the script. I'm gonna take Ole Miss to cover. Stuff we haven't heard your pick yet.
Yeah, man. I'm honestly pretty torn with this pick because I didn't pick Ole Miss or Miami to get to this point, and I think regardless of who I pick, I'm kind of flipping on them because like yeah, I didn't believe in them before, but now I'm picking them. But I really have no choice but to pick a team I didn't believe in before. And you know what? I'm going to go against my better judgment because I did just talk about how the better quarterback usually wins in these games. And I'm going to pick Miami.
Wow.
I'm going to pick the team with the better front on both sides of the ball. Like I said, I know Trinidad Chambliss is way better than Carson Beck, but at the same time, I think it's a team game. I think Miami is going to be able to get it into the flow that they want, and I think if they can really slow it down, just hold the ball, eat up clock, and just beat up Ole Miss, I think that they're going to be able to get it done, man. So
I think that's a good point. Mario Cristobal does have that way of just making every game turn into
yeah,
like
just
his style
ugly.
of game. Like he just
Yeah,
makes
just
every
ugly.
team play his kind of game. Mike Tomlin and
Yeah,
the Steelers do the same way. So I'm very familiar with that, and I do think that's a possibility. So I like that pick. I'm not going to switch, but I like that idea. I think that's definitely a possibility.
Do we think
What is-
Cristobal's defense, even with uh, just 2 stars on the front, is better than Kirby Smart's defense
No,
no, but
in the playoffs?
no, but I
Like,
think I think that I think that their front is better than Georgia's front, and I think that's going to be a problem. I think when it comes to actually like calling it and being a better in-game manager, Kirby's got that way more. But I think that Miami is going to be able to be more physical. I just don't see Ole Miss putting up what was it 35 or 39. I don't think
39.
that they're going to even get that many chances. I think Miami is going to do a better job of holding on to the ball and making the game shorter.
Yeah, I still think Ole Miss is going to get at least 28 points, and I don't think Miami's
that's what
going to
I'm
get
thinking. Just
anything
because
close
of
to
their
that.
offense, I mean, I think people also sleep on their receiving core. Stribling and Wallace, they
They
each
went
had a
crazy.
I
buck
think that's
50
valid.
versus
And Keyvon
Georgia,
Lacey is
a
definitely the
buck
best running
fit
back in the
two.
playoffs.
I
I
think that's
mean,
valid. And
there's
obviously, I'm not really that confident in the pick. Like, I think that there is a world where the score is like 28-10 Ole Miss because Miami just can't score. I mean, they've won these
correct.
games not really scoring anything on offense. They got the
Yeah,
defensive touchdown, which before I said that to me that was a play in the game because their offense wasn't really doing nothing crazy, but I think that they're
outside
going to be able to
Fletcher.
hold Ole Miss. I don't think that this game is going to be a shootout like the other one.
Yeah,
Like
I'm I'm,
I
I'm
think if this
concerned
game
for
turns into a shootout, Ole Miss is going to win. But if it's
sure.
if it's just more slow paced
Miami's
and
advantage for sure.
yeah, that's Miami's game.
Yeah.
Well, Ole Miss
Ole
hasn't
Miss wants it to be a shootout.
Ole Miss hasn't played in any slow paced game all season long, so I don't even think
Right.
it's possible just because of their 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 style on offense. That's not even possible for them to be in a slow paced game, especially on offense. I mean, Carson Beck is gonna have to play his best game of his career, in my opinion, if they win this game. I think he's gonna have over 250 passing yards. He's gonna have to get his tight ends involved, which we really haven't seen much of this season at Miami. Uh, he's gonna have to find some players to step up big time on the perimeter because I think that they're gonna have Tony bracketed all game long, and they're gonna tell them someone has to beat us besides Fletcher,
Yeah.
and I don't know who that's gonna be. Forcing Carson Beck to beat you in the pocket sounds like an advantage, but I think they're gonna lean heavy on their defense, like Steph is saying. Though I mean, they have the pro players. It's gonna be a real challenge for Ole Miss to drop back so many times versus that front. So
Yeah,
it's
that's how
gonna
you
be a
know it's
good
gonna
game.
be a good game though, because we were like so torn. It really could go either
Yeah. I
way.
mean, yeah. Is Ole Miss going to be able to run the ball at all in Miami? That's the question.
I think
Because
so. I
you
think
think
so.
so?
Yeah, Keywan Lacey. I mean, on the season, 1,500 yards, 23 touchdowns. I think he's the best back left in the playoffs. Ole Miss's their front again. I think advantage is still to Miami, but Ole Miss is no slouch up front. I mean, especially on the defensive side. Um, and I think what neutralizes a pass rush is a mobile quarterback. I mean, that's the key. I think Miami they're gonna have to stay more disciplined and contain and stay in their rush lanes more than get after Chambliss. I mean, that little motherfucker, it's so hard to tackle him. Like it'll be tough to get him on the ground, but I think they are gonna try to contain him. But I don't know. I think Lacey. I think because of the attention and having a running quarterback that just opens up like him even more. It's another guy that you have to worry about running the ball, keeping the ball on options. So now that just makes the linebackers have to be more honest and should open up, I think, more lanes for Keyvon Lacey. I don't know. I like Ole Miss in this one, but I think there's definitely multiple paths to victory for both of these teams, and that's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. I think it's the same way on Friday. Oregon and Indiana battling it out in the Peach Bowl, Mercedes Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Indiana, similar to Miami, the slight favorite, -3.5. Um, I don't know. Steph, your first thoughts? It's hard to beat a team twice. Ask Georgia. They just found that out. But Indiana's they're a different beast this year. How you feeling about this one?
Yeah, man. I'm pretty nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Just to get it out the way fast, my pick is Indiana. That's my pick.
As it
That's my
should
pick.
be.
But the only, yeah, like, look, man. Of course, I want to sit up here and tell you all the ways that Oregon is going to win the game, but that's just not what I think is going to happen. Of course, I want us to win the game. I don't want us to lose at all, but um, I think Indiana has been a better team all season. They did beat us at home. Do I think we have no chance to win the game? No, I think we do have a chance to win the game. I think if we play our A game, we could win the game. I think if we come out there and play a B minus game, then we're gonna lose the game. What gives me hope is, like you guys said, it's hard to beat a team twice. I think that we're going to attack Indiana with a different game plan. I think our coaches learned our lesson from that first one, and we were able to get a good look at what they do and what they want to do. But um, I mean, Indiana, they're just so well coached. They have good players at every position. Their guys are going to be in the right spot. They don't make dumb mistakes. I don't really see. I just think they're gonna win the game, man. I think for Oregon to win the game, it's really gonna come down on Dante Moore's play. That first game did not really go well for him. He wasn't seeing the field at all. And I think that this game could possibly be different. He's gotten a lot better as the season has gone on. I think he's matured a lot. Now it's still technically his first year starting here, but it's the end of the season, so you can't make these excuses about being a young player and things like that. So I think that if Dante has a pretty good game, that then we're gonna have a pretty good chance at winning the game. Um, like I said, even before we held them to 30 points, we got a defensive touchdown. I think our defense did enough, man. Like if our offense does more, I don't even think Indiana scores 30. If we're able to get more first downs, have better field position, thing like that, I think that first game comes down to the final possession. So I'm a little bit more confident in us now. I am worried. Like I said, I think we do have a chance. The only thing that really gives me hope, like I said, is Dante getting better, and then it being hard to beat a team twice. I just think that Indiana has been a buzzsaw. They've been a boa constrictor, and they've beaten down on everybody that they've been better than all year. So it's going to be a great game. I think both of these games are going to be amazing. Honestly, I think we are in for a real treat with this semifinal. Um, or it's kind of weird that Oregon is like the team out of all these teams that have been in this kind of position more recently. Like in the past 10, 15 years, it's been Oregon that's been closer to winning a national title than Miami, Ole Miss, and Indiana. So I don't know. I think it's really fun, man. We don't have a Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, team like that in the semifinal.
For sure, for sure. How's what you thinking?
I want to go with Indiana for sure, but I just looked up the location of this game and I seen it's played at Mercedes Benz, and I kind of feel like Dan Lanning has a little bit of magic there. I don't know. If you look at his
But we
record,
got blown out in Mercedes Benz.
I'm thinking about in Georgia. I mean, all time his coaching record at Mercedes Benz has to be like at worst, at worst 7-3.
Okay. I
So
like where you're going with this.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like what is the spread, Swank? What is it?
Plus
Three
three
and
and
a
a half.
half plus three and a
Minus three and a
half.
half. 3.5, yeah.
What's the over?
46 and a half.
Okay, yeah. So they're thinking like
Low scoring.
very
Oh,
low scoring. I mean, down to the wire. That sounds pretty accurate. I mean, Vegas would know, but I don't know. I think it's a toss up. I think it's closer than most people think, just because I think Oregon's fiending. They're hungry. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
they've
yeah,
been itching every single
yeah, yeah,
year.
yeah,
At I
yeah,
mean, you could look in Dan Lanning's eyes. I mean, he's got to get drug tested at this
yeah,
point. The,
yeah,
the
yeah.
man is
Yeah, I'm torn. I'm torn like you. I didn't know. Like
itching.
hearing hearing Steph say Indiana took me a little bit off guard because like Oregon can match Indiana's physicality. Dan Lanning is equal psychopath to um, Cincinnati, so that's one of their greatest superpowers. They've played already before. I like
My only question is personnel. I just don't know about personnel. I don't know if I fully agree with you on they can match up physicality wise, because when you look at Indiana's offense, I mean, you could argue they really have the best off. They've had the best offense in the country the
100%.
entire season, which is crazy to
Yeah, but
say.
they
I
didn't
mean,
out physical us the first game though.
Right. I
They didn't
think
out
they
physical us
didn't
the
I
out
first
think
game.
physical you guys, but look at who made plays. I mean, Omar Cooper, Sarah, even at this point, Becker, I think looks like he could do something in the league. But Sarah
for
and
sure he's a
Cooper are
beast.
both NFL wide receivers.
And I think
Yeah, no, I agree.
that was Oregon's disadvantage the first time a little bit. I think Oregon their secondary is young, but it's elite. I mean, Brandon Finney, we all saw what he did last week against Texas
For
Tech.
sure.
When they,
Um,
and they didn't do that against Finney. It was
no, they did it.
the two touchdowns were on Iffy Obadegu. So I mean, Finney got the pick six again the first game too. So like I think Finney is a guy we can kind of leave out there by himself a lot of the time, and we got to figure out how to give everybody else help, make sure everybody else is kind of um doubling up whatever their assignment is, because I think Finney is a guy that is pretty locked down, and you know, everybody else. Like we can just figure out how to slow down because you're not gonna completely stop them, but we also got to play complementary football. Like I said, like the offense has to do more
Well, yeah, I was
because
gonna
they're
say
gonna
that.
score. They're gonna score something. I don't necessarily think the game's gonna be that low scoring. I think it'll be more like in the 20s. I think because these are two heavyweight teams that they're gonna make plays. They have good players,
Yeah,
and our wide
that's what they're
receivers are getting
saying. Of
healthier and
it'll be
healthier.
around.
Hmm?
I think
They're saying it's the overs at 46, so they're saying each team will score around 23 points.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
really low scoring. It sounds like about a
I'm
touchdown and a field goal each per half. So it does sound low scoring, like in the grand scheme, but that sounds like a game that could be like 10-10 at halftime, 10-3 at halftime, and then the third and fourth quarter is just a light show.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Oregon and their rushing game and their rushing attack. Do you feel like, because I think that's really the key. Like, and you're right, Steph. Like both teams are gonna make plays. Indiana, especially on their offense, is gonna make plays. So how do you stop that? You can't. The only way is to keep them off the field. And how do you keep them off the field? You run the ball. You control the clock. You control possession of the ball. And Oregon, obviously, that Texas Tech front seven is as advertised, and I think they played a big factor in what limiting what Oregon did on the ground in that game. But I think Indiana is just as good in stopping the run. So
I think Texas Tech's front seven is better than Indiana's.
I'm not, yeah, for sure. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the same
So that
quality.
that gives me hope that we're going to be
You're
able
gonna be
to
able
run
to
the
move
ball
it.
better, especially
Okay.
with Indiana losing one of their starting D tackles or the edge
Oh yeah,
player
because
for the
he was
season.
celebrating. He was out. Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah.
Yeah, that
That
sucked.
dude like tore his patella or something. He did something bad.
He tried
But
to hit the Ronaldo or something.
No, he was
he nah
celebrating
he
with fans,
yeah,
doing a
he was
lot
trying
of
to shake hands with the crowd and just like jumped
jumped
up and
up.
then blew his knee
Yeah,
out, man.
that was
But
crazy. I saw that.
but like I think that's something that didn't really show up against Alabama because Alabama sucks, and you know they were still able to put up almost 40 points and blow them out. But I think against us, that might I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a problem, but it's gonna be something that you'll probably notice compared to the first game against them.
Man, Steph, change your pick, man. Change that pick, bro.
Nah, man, like I said, I'm going with the better quarterbacks more often than not,
Man.
and I
Let's.
you know
I'm
Mendoza's
thinking.
been better than Dante all season.
I'm thinking
Man.
about the same thing. I feel like everybody's undisputed number one overall NFL draft pick is Mendoza. He won the Heisman. I feel like Dante Moore's got to feel like a huge underdog in this game and
Yeah,
really feel like he has something to prove. I mean, there's a huge possibility this matchup is a matchup we're seeing over the next 10, 15 years in the NFL if these guys are really those guys and they're both top five picks and they're franchise quarterbacks. I mean, they could be playing against each other for a long time. So we could low key be watching the start of something crazy here between Mendoza and Moore if they're able to succeed at the next level. So I think this is a big game for Dante Moore. I mean, I don't. I think he wants to show that like I'm the number one pick. Like if he knows he's that guy, I think this is a huge opportunity for him. So I just feel like Oregon could sneakily win this game, and if they can get to the national championship, that'll be crazy. Versus I don't want to get that far, but that'll just be crazy. I don't know. I think Indiana's a little. I think the hype on Indiana has to come down at some point. I don't think they're as good as a 2019 national championship team that could just run through everybody. They have to get a heat check at some point. So I low key might change my pick and go Oregon now. I'm
I'm
not gonna
I'm
lie.
I'm
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 looking at the optics, bro.
I'm with you, Haas. I'm gonna take Oregon to cover. We don't pick money line, we just pick the spread. So plus 3.5, Oregon, even if they lose by a field goal, I think the Ducks are in it, man. I think they got a lot to prove. Indiana is amazing. They might be the team of destiny. I would not be shocked if they are, but
Hmm.
hey, the game's got to be played. Like Haas said, I, I don't know, man. Call me a boomer. Call me a homer. Call me a SEC loyalist. Even though Oregon's not in the SEC, but I just can't wrap my head around Indiana winning a natty, man. Like I just that just doesn't make sense
Yo,
to me. Not,
what
on the
y'all
no
need to
hater shit.
realize,
In a
what y'all need to
12-team
realize,
playoff.
what y'all need to realize is you gotta let go of the brand names, man. I mean, what
Not
Ohio
real shit.
State was
For
last
sure.
year,
Real
Indiana
shit.
is that this year.
They are. They're a machine. And again, I think if I had to pick the money line, I would probably put Indiana. But let's ride, Lanny. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right then. Any last thoughts on these two games or anything?
Nah, I think I'm gonna go. Or I know we don't take money lines, but if you want to sprinkle something on there, you might be able to
All right.
come up with something. I
Make some
don't know,
bread.
but I
Yeah,
definitely like them plus 3.5. I like them
they
plus
are
3.5.
currently plus 150 on the money line. So 100 for what is that? 250,
It's
150.
just unfortunate for both these guys because it's like they can both go to the Jets and Raiders, and that just really sucks.
Yeah.
I hope Dante comes back to school.
I just
I don't. I don't
You
think
don't
that
think
he
he's
needs to
ready?
even go
I
for.
don't think that would make
No,
sense, but
no. I think. I think
Further
in terms of
explain
talent,
as a true Oregon analyst, you would give pretty
like
good
like in
insight.
in terms of physical talent, I think he's even more talented than Mendoza. But I just think that there's moments where someone that is an NFL that's ready to be an NFL would have made a better decision. Like there was a play like we had Sadiq wide open on a pass against Texas Tech. I don't know why he didn't throw the ball. I mean, obviously, I'm not seeing it from his angle. There might have been hands in the face or, things like that. But like, there's just moments like that throughout the season where you're like, well, like, yeah, you got the talent. He's probably the most talented quarterback we've ever had. But it's the other parts of the game that you got to put together with that to be ready for the NFL. When it comes to just throwing the football, I think he's among the best in the country. If you're a bunch of guys just standing there saying hit this target with the football, I think he's the best at that. But like I said, when it comes to seeing the field and making good decisions, feeling pressure, you know, pocket movement, things like that, I think he still has stuff to work on.
That would serve him well then, staying another years,
I mean,
especially
look,
if he doesn't
like,
have to go to the Jets. Oh yeah, I think
well, yeah, and
that's
I
pretty
personally
easy.
wouldn't want to go to the Jets or the Raiders.
Right. The Raiders right now they don't even look appealing, bro. It's just can Mendoza doesn't have any more eligibility.
Yeah, I think Mendoza is a senior.
That'd be shocking if he wanted to stay another year.
No, and Indiana just took Josh Hoover, so
Yeah,
they
what
they
a
had they
great
had their
pickup. What
quarterback.
a great pickup.
yeah. Like we mentioned, we'll definitely be doing a transfer portal show once the season ends, once these final games are played, because there is a lot of big movement, a lot of new names. As Haas mentioned earlier, everybody is on a 1 year contract. Everybody's on 1 year rental. So, like I mentioned, 4,000 kids in the portal. A lot of movement. All right, let's transition then to everybody's favorite segment. It is time for Clown of the Week. All right, it's time for Clown of the Week. Steph, Haas, do you guys have submissions? Haas, I know you mentioned you did have one. Steph, you have one?
Yeah, my clown of the week is gonna go to the same team I just picked to shock the world, kind of, and that's Oregon's football team. I did see a clip earlier of them practicing a song called "Get Back," and I thought it was pretty corny because you could just see the players looking for the camera, trying to make eye contact, let them know they're not playing for clicks, I guess. But if I can find the clip, I think that we can maybe post it along with this audio on our Instagram or something. But it was super corny, and it's gonna age like milk if Oregon doesn't win this game. I think that Lanning has instilled this type of like Like I don't even know how to describe it, but it just feels like he's given Oregon this privilege they haven't really earned yet, and it's pretty funny to me as a non-Oregon fan. So they're my clowns of the week. The entire football roster, just for kind of just being, I don't know, just extra in a corny way though. Like it was kind of similar to the whole JJ McCarthy 9 thing. The fake demons, I guess, is what
I
I'll
think you
call
just
them.
hating. I think
I
you
don't
just
know. It was
hating.
just fake. It was just so corny. Like it was just like the fakest demon.
I
Like
think you just hating.
that's
I
also
think you just
possible. I
hating
mean, my season's over,
cause
so
we in the Peach Bowl and y'all not.
that, like I just said, that's a very high possibility. I mean, we're in the StockX Bowl, so
StockX Bulls. Yo, Florida didn't even make that shit up.
powered by Oregon football.
Steph, you have a clown of the week?
mm, I don't even know. Was there even clownery going on?
Kirby, fucking bonehead. First and goal, second and goal, third and goal. I know I just took your slop, my bad, but this guy
Are you
passed the
good?
ball 3 times on the 4 yard line with Gunnar Stockton in shotgun. Like just threw the game away. Like this, I mean, I know it's sports entertainment, but god damn, what a troll. What an absolute troll. I couldn't I still am like getting over what I watched because there was 40 seconds on the clock. Ole Miss had no timeouts. You're on a 4 yard line. You can literally run the ball 3 times. Ole Miss has no timeouts, and you can give them about 14 seconds left to get the ball and try and get into field goal range. With 14 seconds, not 49 or 39, whatever they gave Ole Miss. Kirby Smart completely botched that game, and he low key should be clown of the week. He low key should be clown of the week. I may have to switch my clown of the week. I may have been drinking haterade. You're right. I'm gonna give my clown of the week
I'm
to
looking for it.
Kirby.
You can have as many as you want,
I'm gonna give my clown of the week to Kirby.
for sure. We love to hear
Yeah,
that.
I might have to give my clown of the week to Heisman Trophy winner Cam Newton. I mean, do his take on TV about TV ratings being meaning that the SEC is still the best conference in college football. I mean, TV ratings don't have much to do with the play on the field. We've seen the bowl records and non-conference records and things like that, and just how the SEC um hasn't been in the national championship the past 2 years, and it might happen again if Ole Miss loses. Then that the SEC will be completely locked out of the national championship. Um, so we all know that a lot of times the most popular thing is not necessarily the best thing. We all know McDonald's sells the most burgers in the country every year, but there's a burger spot that makes way better burgers than McDonald's. You get what I'm saying? So you can't sit up there and say that TV ratings mean the SEC is the top conference. And like, yeah, I'm just tired of this whole SEC narrative. And I'm up here with two SEC people, so I don't get y'all, man. The way y'all root for other teams in y'all conference, the way y'all act like y'all all one team together, and y'all will root for another SEC team when they're playing somebody else. It just blows my mind, man. Like I want Ohio State, Indiana, Washington, USC. I want those teams to lose. Washington, USC especially, I want them to go 0 and 12 every year. I don't care if they in my conference, they my rivals. I want them to be losers. I don't want them to see any success. I don't want them to taste success, smell success. I want their football teams to just be dumpster fires and full of misery and horrible. I
you
don't
know,
understand how y'all sit up there and root for other teams in y'all conference.
you know what I notice about everybody who always says that they're always coming from a conference that's
Uh-oh.
extremely top heavy, and they say they don't root for other
Your
teams,
conference
but they're
not top
thriving
heavy.
off the success of the top heavy teams in their
Uh-oh.
conference. I mean, you
Uh-oh.
just joined the
First
Big
of all,
Ten,
my
and you're
team,
representing the Big Ten
we
as if
won the
they're
Big
this.
Ten.
But you're representing the Big Ten as if they're not merchants off the same thing the SEC was. I got into this debate with another friend offline, and we were talking about it, and he's like, the SEC's always been the main culprit uh, in paying players, and that's why they are where they are. Like that's the only reason they're successful. Like da 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 da. And I'm like, what about Clemson? What about Michigan? What about Ohio State? What about USC? What about North Carolina? What about all these other programs that have these backdoor incentives that have been a thing for as long as college football's existed, that are still operating, doing the same thing at a high level like these SEC schools? I mean, it's not like Alabama and LSU were the only teams giving players money in brown paper bags. I mean, that narrative has to end. Just because the SEC was winning and is known for winning doesn't mean that it's all because of them paying players. I think that the SEC fans kind of try and keep the stigma that they're the best conference just because they kind of watch more games and would know more about how the in conference play really is, as
That's a
opposed to a
fact.
bowl
No, that's
game,
a fact, Haas. Because
as
Ohio
opposed
State
to a
fans,
bowl game that you've never watched. I mean, you've how many Kentucky games or Tennessee games have you really watched, Steph?
and to take it a
I
step
watch
further,
Tennessee most weeks.
what Ohio State fan is watching Minnesota versus Wisconsin? None. No Big Ten.
I watch all of
Well,
it personally.
and
Yeah.
obviously, when we're talking in general. We're not talking about like us three on the podcast, like
Well, yeah, I know that.
obviously. But I'm just like,
You're
I
watching
just
Minnesota versus Wisconsin, Steph. Keep it 100, bro.
nah, they're not.
Not
No
even this
one's watching
year.
that. But Haas, you watching South
I'll watch
Carolina
like
versus
Iowa,
Kentucky?
Wisconsin. I'll watch like Iowa, Wisconsin, but that's because I know how Minnesota, Wisconsin's gonna go.
I also
I
feel like SEC fans, people that's just the media. Like I don't feel like many actual fans of teams are rooting for other teams. I think that's just the media,
Yeah.
and they just suck off the SEC, and so they are the ones that are pushing this whole SEC thing. I don't know if necessarily Florida Gator fans are cheering for Tennessee or Vandy or anything like that, but
I mean, it's definitely not what it used to be. That's
it's not. No,
the
that is a
sport
fact.
isn't what it used to be.
I
So
think the Big
obviously
Ten is
the
the best
conference
conference right
isn't
now.
going to be what it used to be, and the Big Ten will always get its respect. It's
Yeah,
top heavy, but I think that like people forget that like yeah, the SEC's top heavy too, but it's also well, it used to be bottom heavy. When I say used to, I mean like I said, the sport's not the same. So obviously the conference isn't going to be what it used to be, and I just think that, like you said, we have to forget the names, like the names.
the
That,
brands. Yeah,
yeah, that's no longer a thing. It's not. I don't think it's a, even playing field, but I do think that it's there's a
it's
lot
more.
more
I mean,
opportunities for
it went
everybody.
from like 5 to 10 teams with a chance every year to like 25 teams with a chance every year. So like it definitely expanded. It's just not actually. But all right then, fellas. I think we put in a nice little hour and a half here. Talked about all the games, previewed the upcoming ones. Anything else you guys wanted to bring up or talk about, or you think we're all good to close it out here?
I think we made our predictions. We got
Yeah, I
our
think we hit
locks.
everything.
All right then. Once again, we appreciate all the love and support throughout this season on this podcast. Make sure if you're not already, if it's your first time listening to us, you like and subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this. We're available on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Just search the Pigskin Live and you'll find us. We're also available for audio only on YouTube. Just search again the Pigskin Live and you'll find us. Hopefully for next season or maybe sometime this off season we'll get some camera action going on for the YouTube um, media and all that stuff. So yeah, appreciate all the love and support. We will see you guys next week to talk about the semifinals and to preview the Natty. Can't believe we're already here, guys. It's crazy. All right, until then,